2024. I've always been terrible at picking favorites, but it's pretty hard to argue that this has been one of the best years of my very short life. One of the biggest, one of the longest, one of the shortest. The year I traveled the furthest from home I've ever been. The year I went to Guatemala City just to get tattooed. I spent 96 days outside the US and 6 different countries. In fact, I didn't even set foot in my own country this year until February 4th. I lived in 5 different cities between the shorter trips I took abroad, and now I'm closing in on the 2-year anniversary of throwing just the necessities in a suitcase and the rest of my belongings in storage. The decision that ultimately has made this whole thing possible. I've spent most of the last 2 years trying to express how grateful I am. I know everything can be turned upside down in an instant, so even though nothing is ever 100% perfect and my life isn't made up exclusively of the parts of it I show online, the most important thing in the equation for me now is staying in the moment and enjoying every single second I can for however long this phase of life lasts. I'm in a place now where I've settled into this lack of routine and structure so thoroughly that I'm not sure what the transition back will look like for me when and if I decide to stay in one place again someday. For now, I'm enjoying every single second that I can of the experiences I've been lucky enough to have and just doing my best to document them so that I can always look back on the art that I'm creating throughout all of it. In the summer of 2023, I met a photographer in Boston, and then I was learning a new language, navigating a long-distance relationship complete with ever-changing time zones, but not for much longer. I remember joking with my sisters during a visit back home last year that I couldn't quite see how a relationship could ever work when I lived out of a suitcase. I hadn't factored in the girl who would pack her own things and come along with me. I've been doing this alone happily for a long time. Being content, comfortable, maybe even a little too used to my own company is one of the skills that I'm most proud of developing throughout this process. The confidence I see in myself after navigating everything I have to make this happen did not exist in me 2 years ago. I envisioned being alone in the foreseeable future in the happily self-sufficient way that I'd learned to be. But now it's exciting and almost frightening to imagine life any other way. It also feels a bit like lightning struck the same place twice. Taking the opportunity to rearrange my entire life to revolve around travel and then somehow meeting the partner whose mind works the same as mine, it almost feels too good to be true. I find myself worrying from time to time without basis necessarily, but worrying nonetheless about the other shoe. What if it all comes to an end? I used to hope for things to change, now I worry that they will. If there's one takeaway I have from the past 365 days, it's that fear never leaves. No matter what I overcome, there will always be another uncertainty, another worry to confront on the other side. But when you set out on a long trek up a tall mountain, you can't scale the entire thing without ever once looking back. To do so would be to forget the reason you began to climb in the first place. One thing I'm in the process of learning is how to stop and enjoy all the different views along the way. The summit may always be just out of reach, and even if I find myself at the top one day, I'll only have a clearer view of another taller mountain. I feel that there are very few limitations in life, mostly just the ones we self-impose. The last thing I want to do is settle down after traveling the world only to finally look back and see that I've stood in my own way the entire time. It's one thing to do it, and it's another entirely to enjoy it. Today is just one of many views I'll take in on a journey with only one inevitable ending. And even if you're watching this from a place you've rarely left, you should know that it's not the distance or grandeur of the journey that decides your destination. Easy for me to say, you might think, as I finished writing this far from where I was raised, far from anything I really know, after flying over oceans and stumbling through foreign cities all year. Easy for me to say that the grandeur of a journey doesn't decide your destination, but I really do believe at my core that humans are capable of incredible things 10 or 10,000 miles from home. If there's one thing I would convey to you, it's just not to choose convenience or comfort. Identify the buttons that you can press, the things you can control, and plant yourself firmly in the driver's seat of your own life. You only have a few years here. Try not to operate from a place of fear, but recognize the preciousness of how we spend our time. I love my life, and I have so many plans. We have so many plans. I can't wait for everything that 2025 has in store, and I'm filled with anticipation at the thought of getting to document it all. And as 2024 draws to a close, I suppose there's really only one thing left to say, and it's thank you for reading, watching, looking, listening this year. It means so much to me, and I can't wait to keep putting myself and my art out there into the world. And I hope that in doing so, I can motivate or push people in some of the same ways that I've been inspired myself by other creators. That's really kind of the whole point for me. I mean, it's been a year of trying with varying degrees of success to grow this platform, to grow other platforms, and there have been highs and lows, peaks and valleys, but at the end of the day, I think that sitting here at the end of the year, if something I said on the internet inspired somebody to pick up a camera and go outside and create something, I'll call that a success. So I hope that that's the case. I'm choosing to believe that it is anyway, but I think that's it. Thanks for watching this year, and I'll see you all in 2025.